GettyDavid Davis may have to beg the EU bosses for help in securing international agreement on trade. The UK will need permission from all 40 of its international trade partners to stay in agreements during the post-Brexit transition period. But two countries, South Korea and Chile, have already raised objections, sources told Politico. The two countries are among a growing set of trade partners that do not want to accept Brexit Secretary David Davis's plan and want to be given deals with the UK during the transition. EU negotiator Michel Barnier is due to meet Mr. Davis in London on Monday ahead of a new round of talks. Next week, the two sides have just months to negotiate future relations before Britain leaves in March 2019. But while EU negotiators are set to tell Britain that it must abide by the rules during the two-year transition period post-Brexit, there is nothing to suggest that other countries will follow suit. The EU's chief Brexit negotiator, Michel Barnier, made it clear that the EU wants Britain to stay in the EU's single market and customs union during the transitional period. He added, "Our partners around the world may have their own views on this." EU negotiator Michel Barnier is due to meet British Brexit Secretary David Davis in London on Monday. This could result in London being forced to grant lower tariffs to all EU trade partners, which might not be reciprocated. Theresa May is faced with the prospect of a chorus of opposition from several countries that feel they are getting a raw deal. Christoph Hedek, president of the European Chamber of Commerce in Korea, who is in close contact with the government in Seoul, told Politico exports are South Korea's credo number one and trade balance is the credo number two. "I expect that Great Britain will have to make concessions if it wants to stay in the trade deal during the transition." Mrs. May and her Brexit team could now have to rip up trade agreements with other countries in order to satisfy the needs, as she also grapples with what the European Union wants from the UK. Samuel Lowe, a trade researcher at the Centre for European Reform, said that Britain could be pushed into the embarrassing position of begging the EU for help to get all of its trade partners on board during the transitional period, as the UK is simply not powerful enough to make such demands on its own. Mr. Lowe warned this gives the EU some good leverage